Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's LTA 2025 matchup.
From the word go.
I did see a little bit of fear in Fudge's eyes when they picked FlyQuest in the draw phase. So, yeah, definitely a little bit of fear leaking in. Of course, I'm very excited to get to the next couple of games in the series when we do get to see the fearless format really take effect. But of course, for people who don't know, and the champions picked in this first game will be banned out for the remainder of the series.
All right, let's go ahead and get into those bans here for the first game, as it's Zyra, Vi, and Kalista banned out by Shopify. FlyQuest have banned out Cassante and Jace, and exactly, that's the number one thing I was noting. FlyQuest have not yet paid their Skarner taxes on the red side here in the draft phase. I'm really curious if they're willing to just let that one through, and they are. Yone is going to be the ban instead.
Yeah, I mean, Skarner is almost permabanned globally so far, in this season. It is going to be left up, and it is going to be grabbed immediately.
Something that Europe uses a lot into the Skarner is Ivern, because your root collar is really good against it, and anything that you can use to try and stop Skarner in the E is definitely very necessary when you're playing against this champion. But even so, everyone still prefers the Skarner. It's just so good at ganking, so good at making engages, and you can just rush Heartsteel, so you get incredibly tanky very early on. So even in the face of Ivern, with your root collar, with your Daisy, with your shields for your team, and trying to have a good 5-on-5 setup and be able to kite back, it is still fairly scary.
But the Ivern is a great call out, because it is a strong matchup into the Skarner, but also because FlyQuest used this to so much success last year in Summer Split, where it started having to just be chain banned against Inspired because they were playing these two threat comps utilizing Quad and Masu, who are so good for the team as these two major carries, and just buffing them up and protecting them with that Ivern. It felt like it was impossible to beat them in team fights when they got this style. And
I know that Masu is someone that so many fans are now just rooting for passionately after his performance at Worlds, stepping up, showing up, just nearly taking out Korea's #1 seed. Would have been, in my opinion, the greatest upset in League of Legends history for one of those matches. So close, but yet so far. And you know that FlyQuest are hungry to keep that improvement, to keep that progress going.
And even without being able to pull off that upset, I think Masu had one of the best rookie years in NA League history, period, right? He performed really well internationally. He performed really well regionally. He won a title. He won Rookie of the Year. He was great internationally. It was just so exciting to see his growth.
And he's going to be playing a critical role in this draft with the Ashe pick, getting that engage, getting that utility from the bottom lane. One of the things when you do pick Ivern as a jungler, you're going to need your primary engage from either top lane or down from the bottom lane. And so I really like how this draft is kind of playing out for FlyQuest, where they started out, giving over the Skarner, knowing they're going to do the Ivern into it. They get their engage with the Ashe from bottom lane, and then they get Bwipo on one of those special Bwipo champions here with the Urgot thrown down into the Jax.
As Ben would call it, one of the funny picks from Bwipo. And this is one of the things that people were really seeing as a potential advantage for FlyQuest is we already saw them going so far outside of the meta, last year with the Nunu, and obviously with the Ivern when it wasn't as popular. We know that Bwipo brings out all kinds of stuff, his Garen, his Olaf, his Urgot. These are advantages in Fearless even more so, because even though you can't play these in the next games, he can just go back to the stock standard meta stuff in the coming games.
Interesting, the Braum ban pretty early here too by Shopify, trying to take away that team fighting defense. Whenever you have to play into an Ivern, it's already kind of rough for your engage, but if you had to play into a Braum also, I actually like that really early Braum ban from them. It does raise the priority on things like Leona from the bottom lane, that then your lane phase isn't hindered by a Braum counter pick. And you would think that they would also be looking at more of these engaged supports, so good little call out there.
Makes a lot of sense, and I mean, also when you think back to these Ivern comps, so much of what FlyQuest played with them was double marksman, right? And we are still seeing double marksman sometimes in pro play. You see some Corki mid, you see some Smolder coming back, especially with Smolder on the new patch, getting a little bit of buff with Infinity Edge, is raising that win rate, so you definitely have to be worried about that potential double marksman here.
Okay, so second half of the bans all the way done now. 2 supports, 2 mid laners. Braum, Rakan, Orianna, Azir, all banned away. Let's see how FlyQuest want to handle this 4th pick of the draft, and they will lock in the Cassiopeia for Quad.
I mean, a new name of the league, but still it's going to be a quad Cassiopeia here. He's one of the champions that when he first came in, we're all trying to hype up for him. And Cassio really has thrived with the feats of strength, not actually even requiring her to buy the upgrades.
She don't have feet.
Don't have feet. Don't have to buy boots. Don't have to buy the upgrades with the boots either. So you get the automatic
a lot of extra move speed.
Extra move speed if you can get those feats of strength. So nice little look up there. And that's the Leona I was talking about with the Braum ban really early. Then you don't have to deal with that lane counter. Plus you don't have to deal with engaging into that difficulty.
Also, walking straight at the Cassio, as the Skarner, if Skarner's coming through the wall, you can just throw down your W. It's very, very difficult for Skarner to deal with, for Leona to deal with even as well. Veigar would be interesting. Hwei does make sense. You get a little bit of range here into the Cassio. The Cassio is more of a mid-range mage.
Exactly.
You have a lot of wave clear with this. You have that outrange there for Palafox. And Palafox, coming off of a tough year last year, really looking to prove himself. When I talked to Coach Revan, that was one of the things that he really was emphasizing, was that these players were so hungry to prove themselves. They're so hungry to really have that opportunity here to play at the highest level, to show that they belong. They all feel that they've been overlooked at times. They all feel that, they haven't necessarily had that perfect set of circumstances around them. And so this is their opportunity to step up against the defending champions here and make something happen.
All right.
It would be a big one. It would be a big upset here if they could pull it off very early on into the season. As you guys were saying, yes, there is double elimination in this kind of tournament format, but you only get 2 chances.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Final pick of the draft here for FlyQuest will be the Rel for Busio. Rel's one of those champions. She's kind of in the same bucket as like Malphite for me, where I'm never mad to see Rel on my team. It's always going to be useful. It's always going to team fight. Get in there and press R.
Yeah, and it really rounds out their team comp that they were building up here, that utility from the bottom lane that they're really leaning into with their early investment into the
I'm betting no. It's been 10 years at this point. Also, if the cat was going to happen, the cat would have happened.
I need to go
There's
check
no more
the date.
episodes of LCS.
I got to go check the date on the original Cat for Kobe tweet.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
Yeah.
I think we need to revive it. Travis, he seems like he can just ignore it now.
Dude, I was out on there on the front lines for you. I was in every one of Travis's Twitch chats and episodes. I was terrorizing him for you.
Me too. But at a certain point, Kobe can move out and get his own cat.
All right, we'll have to see if anything ever develops in that saga. But right now, we got another one about to play out in front of us. Best of 3, Shopify Rebellion versus FlyQuest, the defending champs versus a squad that we've seen have some high highs before. Can they hit them now again here in this new league, this new season, this whole new look for LTA?
That's what people are always excited about when they watch these players play, Flowers, because you can have the really high highs, but you can also have the really low lows and the blunders. So very excited to see, you've got returning Fudge, returning to the league, contracts with Palafox kind of getting picked up and like salvaged, staying in the league here, managing to find a new team. Let's see if they've got that magic that they had on Energy.
We know, Shopify is a team that has that incredibly high. These guys are championship winners, right?
Yeah.
And Shopify has not been in the league for that long. They have had a little bit of a journey. They did join last year. And last year, obviously, was not the kind of results that they would have wanted to go for. Had a pretty disappointing finish. But, they've been able to kind of retool, change the roster coming into this year. And they've really been looking to try to build on that, to try to move forward here. And they have this exciting new sponsorship and this new partnership where Ludwig and Moist Critical both came in. They're now co-owners of the Esports org there. And that, I think, alone has really developed a lot of excitement, a lot of hype around this team.
Yeah. It's huge, right? You get some of these big content creators, these guys who are involved in more than just the League of Legends sphere, that have all sorts of fandom coming in from different places, and it gets people excited to cheer for a team that they might not have otherwise known about, that they might not have otherwise been invested in. But we are going to see a lane swap here, nice and early. Shopify Rebellion sending Zeyzal and B-Voy up there to the top side. Whippo's going to have to deal with that. Meanwhile, Fudge enjoying the lane swap experience down there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the lane swaps, the changes this season, of course, they did reduce like the damage reduction on the mid and top tower, but they also increased the damage that towers do, so they made it harder to dive. Cannon minion also being delayed until the 4th wave means you can't really dive as early on the top laners, and so there's more things this season that allow the like defending team of the top laner to allow the top laner to get the levels you need and allow your support to get there even to help you defend with the dives if you want to do that. So this is becoming a bit more normal in that, as you're saying, if you have a bad matchup, you can easily just swap out of it, and your other sides of the map aren't quite as at risk.
Yeah, I mean, there's really almost no drawback to the lane swap at this point. It's very, very hard to dive. In fact, you'll see almost no teams even try to go for the dive anymore because it does become pretty risky. You know, the top laners get a lot more experience because that cannon wave is delayed. The minions come in a lot faster. You know, you get level 2, you get level 3, and it's so hard to pull this off. And Contract spotted on this ward here is going to make things difficult for him. We can see that the Rel has already moved out towards top to cover this dive.
If this doesn't go well, this will be a disaster here for Shopify. Zeyzal taking a whole ton of damage here from the turret. Bwipo is still A-OK. Busio ready to reinforce him. Zeyzal burning down. Not only does it not work, not only does Zeyzal lose both summoner spells, Contracts was sitting there watching a movie in the brush for the last 60 seconds. Not good for Shopify here on the top side.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a very good movie either. It seemed like it was a little bit of a snoozer there. I think both teams were sweating.
Inspired liked it.
Yeah, Inspired liked it. I mean, honestly, it feels like both teams walk away from that one like, you know, first play of the new season. They were sweating a little bit. Some things went awry there. Like Busio wasn't able to hit his stun. It would have been way worse if Zeyzal had gotten stunned there. If Busio had been able to hit that Q stun under tower. But because they get out and because the supports both blow their flashes, it feels like both of them kind of walking away like, all right, a little bit of a warm-up there, testing the heat-up power of the new towers.
But at the end of the day, it still goes heavily in the favor of FlyQuest. And this is why so many teams don't even bother attempting those dives anymore, because the dive comes, you know, at a time where if you're trying to stack it on the cannon wave, it's so late, the enemy support can roam to match, and it does let Bwipo get to level 3. It's not like last season when we would see people going for, you know, a level 1 top laner who's getting doped by 3 to 4 people. You just can't really manage that anymore. So Bwipo does survive. You know, he has a little bit of an experience lead, has a little bit of a gold lead, but critically it's Inspired who just got to power farm, you know, got to have his way on the map.
And it's really interesting, too, because when you hear Bwipo talk a lot about some of his specialty picks, you know, he'll talk about his Urgot scaling and his Olaf scaling, and we've seen him love to be like this mid-game frontline with Asterix Gage, and when he's got an Ivern on his team, you know, even on Urgot, you know, on basically anything. We saw a lot of Renekton, too, where he charges in and starts out a lot of these fights when he has the survivability of those extra shields from items as well as his teammates to go in on.
Yeah, 2v2 up here in the top side, but most of the damage absorbed by the tanky supports, so not really anything too crazy happening. Inspired is pathing up towards the top side of the map yet again as Fudge wants to brawl with Bwipo a little bit down here in the bottom lane. Isn't going to get the stun with the counter-strike, so Bwipo's still just fine himself. We have the Grubs are going to be spawning here in the next 15 seconds with control over the top lane belonging to FlyQuest. We'll see, do they want to try to make anything happen here? No, Inspired is hanging around, but they're fine.
Yeah, and Shopify is just looking to make plays on the other side of the map here, trying to see if they can find an angle to threaten, because Grubs are spawning on top side. That's why the bot lanes are up towards that top side. But having seen Contracts down here, it's going to be an easy start for Inspired. He knows there's not going to be any sort of a contest. And Bwipo is just too healthy to really go for a dive. They don't have the damage to safely 100-0, especially now that he's level 6.
Right.
The execute there could easily turn around a dive.
Yeah, Fear Beyond Death is crazy good at turning those around with the fear plus the execution. So FlyQuest will take this first one. This will be 1 out of 3 progress to their first feat. Reminder, since we are on the current patch, it's not first blood feat, it's first to 3 kills. The feat of warfare. Twitch chat was telling me, so I would remember the right name of it. Thank you, Twitch chat.
I'm 100% sure Freak is the progenitor of these feats of strength because he loves the memes there, and you can use both types of feats. But excuse me? I much prefer Grubs as my first like objective feat of strength.
More than feat?
Yeah,
yes.
More than feat.
Grubs are your favorite feat.
Because the Grub buff also helps out with getting the first tower feat. which a lot of times you can get way quicker.
What have you done, Cody?
And so you can kind of rush into them. I mean, Freak really did it.
No.
You can really rush to training them. And some of the changes on this patch, because we are on the live patch, that I really do like, is changing the first blood one to the first 3 kills.
That was a really good change.
And so I find a lot of the times it does kind of pivot on who can rush down for first tower. And so if you've been trading the grubs for dragons early on, it just also helps you kind of domino effect snowball on that one.
Well, the nice part for FlyQuest, looks like we've got first grubs and first Drake for their side. That's a pretty bad news here for Shopify early on. They're down in objectives. They're at least even on gold after the botched attempt of the turret dive in the top lane alongside Contract spending all of the time in the brush looking to set that up. And now Shopify does have an angle here in the enemy jungle, looking to control this red buff area before the second spawn of that lesser neutral objective. Inspired wanted to plant the grove there on his chickens, but will not be around to reap the rewards, as Shopify will guarantee that Contracts can steal that camp away.
Yeah, honestly, like the pace of this game for FlyQuest, cruising right along to their very strong 5-on-5 setup that they're going to have. A little bit of a play up here, just gets the cleanse out though.
Yeah, got the cleanse, misses the follow-up arrow. Masu with a good sidestep on that one. Zeyzal wanted to jump in, but he takes a turret shot. That means Busio and Masu are going to come out on top in terms of health with this trade, but Contracts is nearby, so Shopify are trying to bait their opponents to just step a little bit too far forward, allow Contracts to come through the wall here with the Ishtal's impact. He does have the Impale ready to go now, too. We'll see if they want to go for it. Contracts going in. Busio with a nice stun there onto Contracts. Flashes back out of the way, ready to turn it around here with a crash down. Zeyzal flashing out as well. Palafox with that spiraling despair over the wall and the rain of arrows. It's first blood over to B-Boy. Might look for one more. Can't quite get the snipe here on Amasu. Another sidestep away from the piercing arrow. Palafox just barely manages to get the kill. It's a 2-0 game for Shopify Rebellion.
Masu with some fancy feet there, dodging out on so many of those spells, but it just doesn't matter. They have the 4 members up towards that top side. They make the dive happen. They don't just get first blood, they get 2 kills. Yes, there will be a bit of a cost to that as Inspired is forming some camps. They're going to lose a play mid to quad, and he's going to cover top now, but still great initial play there from Shopify.
And I think it was very necessary. Like, it's starting to get to the point where we're a little bit
That counts. That's a hit.
That is a hit, 100% right there.
Put it on the board.
We were starting to get a little bit worried about the ability there for FlyQuest just kind of playing their game. But here we go. And it's really the roam up from Palafox that makes the difference here.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the initial play there from Busio, though. The Shattering Strike on Contract coming over the wall, then flashes out of the ultimate, goes to the crash down, and that forced Contracts to flash out because had he been hit by that crash down, he would have been in the tower range and might have gone down first. And even with all the dodges from Masu, there's only so much space you can work with.
Now, the really important thing is to analyze what's going to happen afterwards because of the deep wards that were also left in the jungle, because they did give up some priority there.
Uh-oh, we're right back into the action, though, as they're locking up Masu. He doesn't have any summoner spells, but Busio with a beautiful counter-engage, and B-Boy is already down. Make it 2 dead on Shopify Rebellion. Make it FlyQuest picking up the feat of warfare. 3-0 in that scrap.
Oh, and it's going to be another objective the way of FlyQuest as well, Flowers. This timing is critical. Grub's second pack will also go the way of FlyQuest. That is going to be everything. That's going to be the feats. They've got 3 kills. They've got 3 objectives. They've got it all here, and it starts out support v support.
Yeah, and watch Quad, though, over the wall. You know, he was spotted, but they did not react. A great engage from Busio, and then R-Flash over the wall from Quad. Inspired there, buying the time, keeping Masu alive, who was missing those summoners. And they're getting the grubs. They're getting the plates on top side as well, as Whippo has time to push in here. And he's going to be forced to flash, as did have his steering charge there kind of interrupted by Fudge. Did they get all 3 grubs?
No,
they lost one of the grubs. Okay. So they don't actually get the feat of strength because you have to get all 3 for it to count towards that 3 objective feat.
Massive smite actually there from Contracts to be able to get in and deny that, still keep the feats of strength on the table to be able to contest. First turret will have to be claimed by Shopify, and they'll still have a lot of work to do to get 3 neutral objectives before FlyQuest can secure 1 more, but at least it's still possible.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon's coming up pretty soon here, so they might turn their attention down towards bottom side of the map. I mean, you already have Inspired's camps channeled over here, so you've got support and jungle already down towards Dragon's side of the map. They might want to just keep this action rolling. Quad's ultimate will be back. They don't have their critical flashes on their team, though, so maybe Palafox and B-Void, the carries here for Shopify, with their flashes, will be able to make something happen. But if they are unable to, FlyQuest will just keep on with their game plan here. They've got river control. They have very good vision set up.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it becomes kind of a bit about front to back, right? Because Masu and Quad don't have flashes, but none of the playmakers on Shopify's team have flashes either. Their carries are more safe, but it is very difficult to fight front to back against Inspired here on this Ivern. He already has the Moonstone. You can see a lot of key item completions are coming through, but Shopify does get push in mid, and for now, it looks like FlyQuest are content to just sit back.
We got word that Moist Critical is watching, so I'm sure he's nervous right now because we're approaching probably a very critical fight for his team, and they're trying to move in and get some vision. Busio fighting back, as you're saying here, trying to clear that pathway out. Meanwhile, though, Inspired's taking this time, clears up towards top side, still remaining efficient here. On Ivern, sometimes it's a bit of a trap where you can easily just play to all your lanes and constantly play for all your teammates, and a lot of Iverns fall behind in CS, but he's actually kept his CS quite nice here and has the Moonstone already fully completed, which is a huge power boost for your team fights.
I also really like B-Voi's first buy. You know, the Serpent's Fang, there's so many shields on this team. Obviously, there's the shields from the Ivern, but also the E on the Urgot. There's the shields on the Rel Crashdown. You know, it is going to be really, really effective here, and it's someone who can kind of easily apply it.
Yeah, I like the adaptation for it. I also, when you're looking at the inventory, you can look in Contracts' items and see the Winter's approach going towards that Fimble Winter is not as much early power as going for a straight up health item early on. However, once you have it complete, the extra survivability, the shield spam in the fights can go a very long way, as the Dragon is going to be aggroed, but not fully committed to. And there you go. Turret plating has fallen. Much easier for either team to be able to claim the turret feat now. If FlyQuest does it, they instantly win the feats of strength battle. If Shopify does it, then we just continue on with the war over the neutral objectives. It is 2 minutes now until the Herald spawns, and we will see Otacon 6 minutes from now. I'll keep an eye on wherever the pit was. I didn't see which side it spawned on. Okay, it's up here on the top side. Top side Otacon.
Yeah, and this tower is getting dangerously close to going down. Fudge is really trying to keep it alive, but he is getting chipped away at. You can also see Quad pushed in bot. No one's responding to that. That tower is also low, so now Shopify is starting to get pulled apart a little bit because they're trying to defend first tower. They're also trying to defend that third objective from going down, but it looks like FlyQuest is going to be able to claim first tower on the top side. They're going to have to give that up. They will defend the bottom tier 1, but this is another little edge there for FlyQuest, and they do secure the feats of strength.
And it just shows how big that scrap in mid was, because remember, Shopify did have the 2-0 kill lead. Now let's see how the fight breaks out. Arrow flies out from Masu. Busio ready to follow up the engage. Nice use of the Cassiopeia ulti from Quad. The shutdown credit goes over to Busio, and Palafox is already down. Zazel 2, Fudge flashing away as FlyQuest have already found 2 kills. Bwipo's going. Fear Beyond Death. First half hits B-Boy, but he pops the cleanse to get away. FlyQuest feeling great about it. 2 more kills and an extra Drake, but wait a second. That Drake was stolen away. The turret was what gets them the feats after all. The Drake isn't what's going to do it. Isaac, you already pointed that out, but I got so lost in the details, man. Turret at least gets it done.
Lost in the feeds.
FlyQuest feeling good. Yeah, we're lost in the feeds.
Contracts did the drive-by, the Skarner Classic. Drove on in there. He was able to yoink the Dragon, but Flowers, they're still tremendously behind in the game and need to fight their way out. Zazel's going to try and do just that.
Yeah, Zazel trying to buy time for the rest of the team to come in here and collapse on Bwipo. They've got a 4 versus 1. There's no way out. Bwipo wanted to try to maybe find a way to take Zazel with him, but it ain't going to happen. So good catch there from Shopify right as the Rift Herald spawns. But Zazel's very low, and they did commit multiple resources to that. Solar Flare, Chains of Corruption, pretty much everything. Let's take another look at the Dragon fight.
All right, so here we're going to see Contracts drive in on the Skarner, do the drive-by. It's really annoying with Ivor and Brush right there, but he was able to get vision, able to steal it away at the cost of all the teammates. And so the kind of giant gold advantage for FlyQuest that is building up, and their ability to force fights with their utility bottom lane here is going to be very problematic for Shopify to deal with for the next like 10 minutes. Seems like it's going to be very difficult because you have a lot of these neutral objectives spawning on the map in quick succession.
Yeah.
Otacon is not that far off. The 20-minute mark, fairly close for them. So FlyQuest should be able, as long as they continue to invest their vision resources up towards this top side of the map, continue to control a lot of these neutral objectives and try and use that big gold lead that they've already accrued to fight those team fights here and try and take away the comeback possibilities that Shopify have.
And it looks like they just want to go for Bwipo again. He is pretty far up in the side lane here.
And this is something that we've seen teams do in the past against FlyQuest, against Bwipo specifically, try to punish that aggressive play style that he has. But Bwipo's ready to turn it around. He knows he has backup coming to help him. Inspired and Masu here on the right side flank. Fudge having to leap back to Contracts, trying to continue his escape route. B-Boy ready to reinforce the Shopify lines. Fudge is down to 40%. Quad's ready to make the big flank come in, but Bwipo might just be the first to die. He stays alive, barely. Masu also hanging on. Bwipo grabbing the first kill back against Fudge. FlyQuest, the health bars are low, but you'll call it calculated. 1-0.
Nicely done there by FlyQuest. Quad just drew so much attention in the backline. So many members from Shopify were having to deal with him that it bought time for the rest of the FlyQuest team to be able to knock down that front line. Bwipo just turns, immediately starts fighting. They had TPs coming in from both sides. Both Palafox and Quad do arrive. You can see the arrow comes in from Masu, forcing out the flash from Zeyzal. And then this is where Quad gets into the backline, and all of Shopify is really just pushed back, trying to deal with this Cassio.
And look how low Bwipo gets, but he's able to E and flash his way out, just barely surviving as you're talking about Quad then flashing out as well. So a little give and take there on the front line / the back line here. And FlyQuest both inspired, flashing out when he had that Hui ultimate on him, able to take away that danger from the rest of the team. And then Quad able to survive as well, ensures that FlyQuest will still retain control of the top side of the map.
And B-Boy has no flash now, because in that replay you saw the damage. Quad hit B-Boy with 1 Q and 2 Serpent Fangs, took him down to below half HP.
And you can see Inspired talking about Fudge. I believe this was from Pros, talking about how he felt that Bwipo destroyed him and was the one that kind of made him lose his spot. Fudge didn't really agree in the pre-match interview, but Bwipo, just such an exciting player to watch because he has such a defined playstyle, right? He's really going to play his game, and sometimes he has a very different view on how the game should be played than other top laners.
Meanwhile, the team fight looking very good for FlyQuest. We've got double items for Inspired now. The Redemption has followed up the Moonstone, so even more of that security in your 5-on-5. And with the amount of CC on this team, this is what we are a little bit worried about for Shopify. So they have to continue to try and make picks on side lane.
Nice slam into the wall with the angle there from Contracts, trying to take down Bwipo. Bwipo wanting again to try to use that ulti to make it an even trade, but it does not happen. Zeyzal stunned up a little bit here. Busio lands a shattering strike. We call it a follow-up, but there's just no damage nearby. Quad and Masu looking to see if maybe they can put a little poke on Palafox, but it's not going to work out too well. FlyQuest still with a 3,500 gold lead, but they are down a man for the next 20 seconds.
It was a really good pick here for Shopify, but Bwipo has his teleport ready, so even with that death timer, it's a little bit dangerous for Shopify to try and get anything else, and they actually lose out a bit on tempo because of it. Early push in mid from Quad, and then Inspire drops the Rift Herald to try and finish off that mid turret, and you just transition your pressure from mid push into Dragon. Very classic macro here from FlyQuest, so even though they lose Bwipo because of the fact he had TP, they are still able to get 2 objectives out of it.
Speaking of objectives, Otacon now on the Rift, and it is Voracious Otacon. If y'all at home have trouble remembering that one, which one's which, remember that Voracious means hungry. If you're hungry, you're not full. You're not full power. You're not the big one. You're the little one. Voracious Otacon is the little one, and that means he is hungry. The hungry one gives you the GA. This is scary stuff. I
thought you were going to say you're hungry, so you eat the roses.
No, I don't know. What does that have to do with anything? No, the roses are the big one. Yeah, see,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody eats flowers, man. Fudge is in some trouble. They're trying to eat some fudge, but they aren't going to get him. Not all the way. Instead, Shopify turning it right back around onto Bwipo, and Contract is taking the kill. Now Palafox in danger. Flashes over the wall, but the arrow follows him. Masu on a rampage, on the warpath, on the hunt. Volley flies out, but it misses both targets. Masu wants to go after Fudge. Finds him with a little bit of damage, but the counter-strike might just be ready to turn it back around. Masu still slowing him down, still gunning him down. Nicely done with Busio here with a massive engage on the 2. It's a double kill back over to Masu. Everybody on Shopify Rebellion is dead in the dirt, and Otacon's the reward for FlyQuest.
Let's revisit this voracious Otacon. Because I always thought of it, okay, so Voracious Otacon is hungry because there haven't been as many kills in the game, so he's hungry for more kills.
No, he's hungry because he's not
I'm more
full.
with you.
Yeah?
I'm more with you.
Oh, you guys, no,
Okay.
that's not right. He's hungry because he's not full, because he's not full power. He's not the big one. He's a little one.
Well, he is the one.
FlyQuest is looking fed right now, so I'll say that much. Masu, finds the angle, is able to chase him down, and FlyQuest really looking good in these 5v5. Shopify have been good in the side lanes, finding picks, finding angles, but when it comes time to this 5v5, it does not feel like they have an answer.
So this was huge from FlyQuest. They're getting this reward. Worth pointing out, though, remember that they did nerf the Voracious Otacon in this patch. It was way too strong. So one of the big changes that they made was making it so it's worth more money when you have that free death. A little bit of a reminder of Masu's accomplishments last year. We already talked about his incredible rookie performance. Now here in this game, not slowing down at all. Bwipo finding himself a kill in a 1v3. Yeah, they might pick him off again, but it's not truly a kill as he just gets to withdraw. Busio also withdrawing. So 400 gold given over from both of those. But nobody actually dead as Masu just tearing through Contract's health bar. Again, he's not afraid of dying. It doesn't matter. Redemption. Gonna keep him healed up anyway. They don't even lose the false life. Masu's going legendary 8-1-4. He's nearly got twice as many kills as the whole damn Shopify team. Bwipo looking to cut off the escape route. Palafox fears him, but Palafox will be the only one getting away as Contracts drops. Masu still won't even lose the false life.
It's not fair.
FlyQuest are making him look ridiculous. Finally, they at least remove the buff.
They get that, and like you're saying, 200 gold now for trying to kill off those GAs, so that does feel a bit better. But, I mean, FlyQuest are just still showing the caliber of play that they showed at Worlds this year. There's a very similar style as well, building up a very good team fight, having the Ivern heals and shields. But take a look at Bwipo in the side lane. Because he had the GA, it's more than just going. It's like, what are they even doing? They send 3 at me. They throw a bunch of ults. And even though they get me, I'm 1 for 1, and I'm only worth 200 gold and a couple petals.
I mean, that is the best feeling when you've been getting camped all game. They keep coming at you in the side lane, when they keep picking on you, and then you're able to turn it around in a 1v3 and kill the other top laner. Quad chasing down Contracts. He's in trouble.
Yeah, Contracts, this is not where you want to be on that Skarner. Almost no way to get away from it. Easily done. Masu, Quad, Busio working together. That is a 1-4 Skarner. This power pick, this champion that we were surprised to see let through the draft on the red side, FlyQuest clearly had it figured out. They are not struggling against this at all.
Yeah, they were already Ivern enjoyers, and so they really wanted to play into that side. It also does help, to have a lot of this counter engage from your Cassiopeia and then utility bottom lanes. Like we were saying, this is a lot of what FlyQuest were already doing really well last year, and they won the league.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about scrims, early this year. We're saying much of the same here, where FlyQuest are kind of picking up where they left off last year, which was in first place.
And I think this also plays a lot into kind of the new era of draft philosophy that you have to take with Fearless. If you're on red side and Skarner is normally this tax, this mandatory ban, if you're confident you can beat it, let it through the first game. All of a sudden, you don't have to worry about that automatic ban for the rest of the series, and your draft is much more flexible, much more freed up.
Yeah, and so Skarner a lot too, especially like solo queue Skarner, but even pro play as well. The reason, let's see about the desperation play first, because this could be exciting.
Okay. This Baron could die fast with Cassio and Ashe this fed.
Yeah, this is very scary for Shopify. They will.
It's so hard to get in there.
Yeah, they're just keeping it leashed. They're just keeping it leashed with Daisy.
The brush is also really annoying to deal with. You have to go in here. You're blind. The enemy team has just so much CC, ready to counter you.
And here we go. Busio in for the Magnet Storm. On to 3. They follow it up with a Petrifying Gaze. Shopify tries to fall back, but they only fall down. Quad goes on a rampage, and Masu's legendary. 3 dead bodies on Shopify, and it's about to be 4. Beautifully done by FlyQuest. It's Baron. It's a near ace right after. This has got to be just about the end of the game.
What a fight from FlyQuest. They managed that so well, utilizing the Ivern ultimate, keeping the Baron leashed while 3 members kept Shopify at bay. They claim the Baron, they claim the fight. They're going to claim the first win of LTA history.
FlyQuest is making this first game go exactly to expectations. They got the feats. They controlled the game from the very beginning. They had Shopify downloaded from draft, and now they're on the Nexus 26 minutes into the game, 19-5 on the board. FlyQuest are up 1-0.
And 26.5